going to share with you some ways to tackle common obstacles that you might come across as you KonMari your craft space. Like I have my studio. Sometimes it was a lot easier than I thought it would be, and sometimes it was harder. So stay tuned. As I've been KonMariing my craft space, I've come across quite a few roadblocks, but once I got over those initial hurdles, the rest of the process went a lot easier. It was sort of up against a roadblock, and then once I got past it, it really was smooth sailing. So I'm going to share 4 of those main obstacles that I came across now, and then afterwards I'm going to get into the things that I've done and the progress that I've made. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so the first obstacle that I came across was motivation. Once I got started, it was fine, but then it was just at one point, it's like, I really don't want to do this anymore. It's really a lot. I had a lot of motivation in the beginning because I had watched the Tidying Up series. I had just reread her book, so I was really motivated and really gung-ho, just like pretty much everyone else who watched it on Netflix. But once that initial motivation wore off, it was like sludging through snow. It was really difficult. I didn't want to do it. But I had a few things already in place that helped me get past that and keep going. So the first thing is you. I knew that I was going to do this video for today, and I really wanted to have something to tell you. So like, oh yeah, I haven't done anything since I did my last video. No, I really wanted to have something that I could tell you that I made progress. So that was really motivating for me. I work well with a deadline, and also if you've read any of Gretchen Rubin's books or taken her quiz, I'm an obliger. So outside accountability works great for me. You might not be an obliger, and that's fine. You might need to find other sources of accountability to help you keep going. Maybe just the simple fact of having it written on your calendar and making a habit of it would be enough for you. It's not enough for me, but even having it there is sort of the reminder that I need to do this. So I had it written in my calendar even if I didn't do it every day. I'll show you here. This is my habit tracker, and all the green squares are the days that I did do some KonMariing. Is it a verb? It's a verb. It's a verb. Once you've done it quite a few times, it becomes a habit, and then that habit, you don't need the motivation anymore because you just do it because that's what you do, because it's a habit. If you need the external accountability, but you don't have a YouTube channel, for example, there's lots of ways that you can do it. If you have a friend who wants to do the same thing, you can buddy up and keep each other accountable. Or even if she's not doing it and her house is immaculate, you can just make sure that she checks in with you on a regular basis to see how you're doing. You can post about it on Instagram, maybe post pictures of the things that you've gotten rid of, post updates on your progress, and the people there who follow you will be able to support you. Another source of motivation could be following other people's journeys on their minimalism journey or decluttering. You can watch people on YouTube or even rewatch the Tidying Up series, anything to get you motivated to be like them. And one last thing for motivation for me is find a book. There's lots of books about minimalism and decluttering, and even if you're like me and the Marie Kondo system works best for you, you can still get tips and tricks from other people. So Joshua Becker's new book has just come out, and I'm going to read that now to sort of keep me going. He goes room by room instead of category by category, but even that is going to be motivation enough for me. There's also a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos out with him in it right now because he is promoting his new book, so check those out as well. The next biggest obstacle for me was the overwhelm. This room, it's not the biggest room, but it has a lot of stuff, a lot of little things. Once I got through the 4 main things that I wanted to do, and I'll talk about those in a second, once I got past that, I was sort of like, what do I do now? There's just so much to do. So I just said, okay, take it slow. We're going to break it down into the smallest things possible. So I have different baskets with different sort of paints and inks and things, and I said, let's just start there. So anything that was sort of paint or ink, I did those next, and I even broke those down into watercolor, acrylics, stamping inks, and all that sort of thing, and I did it that way, and it went really fast, and it was quite easy once I broke it down into smaller steps. So next I think I'm going to tackle my washi, and then I'm going to move on to my planner stickers. So wish me luck. So the next obstacle was things I really didn't know what to do with. Either they were sentimental or they were in a different category than the one that I was sorting at the moment. So for example, if I came across some papers when I was doing paints, first of all, what were they doing with my paints? I didn't really know what to do with them. If they were just obviously recycle, I put them in recycle, but if not, I just put them aside for now, and I'm going to tackle papers at the end. Same thing with sentimental things. I'm going to wait until the end, and then I'll have that category all grouped together. I'll do papers at one time, sentimental at another, and I'll just have them separate from what I'm doing at the moment, and I'll just stick to the category that I'm doing at the moment. I think this last obstacle was probably the most frustrating for me. I kept everything that I was getting rid of, and I put it in a pile so I could show you here. I didn't want to get rid of it right away. I kind of wanted to pile up so that I could show you one big impressive pile of stuff, but I don't think that's a good idea. Every time I came into this room, it was stressful. I had to step over stuff. It was a big mess, and it was just no. So from now on, what I'm going to do as I get rid of stuff, I'm going to put it away into a bag once the bag is full, it's going to go to the donation shop. Even a bag in a corner of a room is less stressful than a pile of crap on your floor. Actually, it's not crap, it's actually good stuff and I'm giving it away. Just seeing it all was really overwhelming. Also, a bonus of having it packed up right away is that you won't second guess yourself or go through it again and say, oh yeah, maybe I'll keep that after all. It's out and it's gone and it's done. I do have one big takeaway that I learned specifically going through my craft supplies that that hadn't really hit home when I was doing my clothes, my books, or my other things. So I'm going to go through that with you at the end, but for now I want to go through all my progress and what I've done. So the first 4 things that I did, I said I was going to go through my tools, my fabric, my wool, my knitting things, and my books, which are here. I didn't think I had very many books, because I got through my books when I did the Konmari system before, but when I went through them this time, I got rid of probably half of the books, and I was really surprised because I didn't think that there was anything to cull, but there was, and they're gone, and now my bookshelf seems to breathe a little better, and it just feels good. It feels good to get rid of stuff. I think the books was the biggest surprise. Volume-wise, the biggest thing that got rid of was fabric. I have these bins at the top of my shelving, and most of them are fabric. I think one's full of just stuffing and other one's knitting, but the other ones are all fabric, and they were full. They were overflowing even. But I went through and I took out just the ones that sparked joy, and I kept those and got rid of the rest, and I really got rid of a lot of fabric, and it just feels really good. I got rid of projects that I no longer felt like I needed to finish. I always felt guilty when I looked at these before, but they didn't spark joy at all. I felt like I should finish these projects, and that's not what you want to go into a project. You want to be happy. You want to be excited to do a new project. You don't want to feel obligated, so I got rid of all of those. For the wool and the tools, it was mostly things I wasn't using or projects that were finished that had leftover wool or colors that I didn't like, so that was good. Whenever I came across something random that was either in with the categories that I was sorting or just saw in my room as I was going, I would get rid of those if I knew I didn't want them, which is sort of like the low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff, and I got rid of that stuff. I also went through my sticky notes and culled that down probably almost by half, because there's so many sticky notes that either don't stick or the design of them is so big and they just leave you a little tiny space to write that there's no point. So I got rid of quite a few sticky notes. I also went through all my paints and inks and got rid of a lot of that stuff. I think the most time-consuming thing was the fabric and all the stuff in the bins up above. The biggest lesson that I learned was just because I could use something down the line for a project or something, or I felt like I should keep it just in case, that doesn't spark joy. Something that's never sunk in for me is the fact that just because something could be useful in the future doesn't mean I should keep it. I always thought, oh, that'll come in handy. I'm a crafty person, I can find a use for that. But these things didn't spark joy for me, so out they went, and it was really, really freeing. Like I said before, the obligation, the guilt just kind of went away with all those things, and I'm really glad to get them out of my craft space. If you haven't watched my first video on Konmari in your craft space, I'm going to send you here to watch that now. Let me know in the comments below what you've gotten rid of and how your Konmari process is going. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I've got lots of great videos coming for you. If you like a planner that's pretty, makes you smile every time you open it, but also keeps you organized at the same time, this channel's for you, so hit that red subscribe button. Have a fantastic day and happy planning!